Good afternoon. My name is Talon, and I'm doing reviews on multi-tools and knives that I've had for several years. Now, there's two reasons for this. First, I have more time and use with the item, and that gives me a little bit more insight of things I can say about them. And second, maybe thinking about buying one for yourself or as a gift for somebody else, as I received this as a gift. And you might be thinking, is this going to be a good knife for me or for the person that you give it to? So maybe I can help you out. Okay, here's some basics. The handle length, 5.5 inches. Okay. The blade length, and I count this in two parts. The serrations are 1 inch, and the plain blade part are 3 1/4 inches. The weight is 9 7/8 ounces. Okay, and with the sheath that comes with it, 11 5/8 ounces. Okay, let me move this out there. Now, if you check the statistics with the Weyland company, you'll find that the weight is a little off. So here's why. Okay, it came with these post bolts that held to both sides of the handles on. Well, when I first held the knife, it popped off. Okay, so I'll pick it up, gonna put it back on, but it's too small to go on easily. It's too short. So I have to really push in and turn. Well, unfortunately, that's stripped it out. So that's no good because now you can't tighten it at all. So I contacted the company that made it, and they sent me a replacement post bolt. Okay, so I get that, and I go to put it in, and I notice before I even start that it's already stripped. So that didn't do any good. I tried to put it in anyway, and it wasn't going to work because it's stripped out. So I dropped by the local hardware store and just picked me up a nut and bolt set for here and down here. And this is a locking nut, and I put it on backwards on purpose so that it would fit the indentation a little bit better, so it would hold it on here well. And I did this because it was a gift, and I didn't want the person that bought it for me to just have a bad feeling about it. So I get the handle on there, and now I'm gripping it pretty good. And I like the gimping on here, the top and bottom. I really like that. Now, problem is though, I got this part down here, which they're calling a glass breaker, just digging into my palm. So that's not very comfortable, okay? But I do like the gimping. And I'm very confident that if I'm using this knife and having to move it in this way, that my hand is not going to slip and go along that cutting part of the blade and injure myself. So I am very pleased with the gimping on this, okay? Now, not sure why as a survival knife, which is basically for going out in the woods and processing wood and things like that, maybe dressing and processing an animal that you hunt, making traps, making shelters, things like that. I'm not sure why I need a glass breaker. Okay, and you're going to find that this knife is just nothing but a bunch of gimmicks and none of them help. Okay, so that's how this review is going to go. I mean, there's a few good things on it, but most of it not very well thought out. Okay. For example, gut hook. So the person that got it for me knows I do a lot of bushcraft stuff. I've been doing it since the 70s. They know I like to hunt and fish and stuff like that. So they think, oh, well, the gut hook, they say for, taking care of the guts with the animals and stuff after you hunt them. So yeah, I'm going to really like this. That's what the person thought, I'm going to really like this. Well, if you're very well experienced with processing, the meat out in the woods, you don't need a gut hook at all. Okay, the gut hook's just a gimmick for people that don't really know what they're doing so well. Okay, some people will like to use it if they have it, but not in this particular format, and normally it's going to be on the end of whatever you're using. It's not going to be up in the middle somewhere. So this is not placed very well if you're going to use it as a gut hook. Okay, if I'm going to use it as a gut hook, I want it up near the end. But That's where to put it. Okay. Um, is it usable out in the woods? Yeah, it's just not in a good place. Okay, and I don't prefer it. Okay. Oh, this slot right in there. I had to read the instruction manual on the knife to say, what is that slot for? Oh, it's for opening and closing oxygen tank valves. Okay, so I'm making my shelter out in the woods, and I've got that done. I'm going to process some firewood. I'm going to make my trap or whatever. So apparently, they think I'm going to be needing to open and close the valves on oxygen tanks while I'm doing this. It's a gimmick, and it's totally wasted. It does not need to be on there. Okay. In fact, having this gut hook like this and having this slot in here without the metal in it takes away from the heft of the blade, which prevents this from being a decent chopper. I mean, I can chop small twigs with this, but if I'm going to have, say, a 4-inch diameter stick or a tree branch, and I want to chop through that, like I don't have an axe for some reason or a saw, and I'm going to chop through it, I can still do it with this, but it's going to take a lot more work and use up a lot more energy that could be used for other tasks out in the woods than if I had more weight to this part. So putting these cuts in here actually are counterproductive for this. Now, when it comes to batoning wood, and some people will say, oh, no, batoning is not a smart thing to do. And I would not baton unless I absolutely had to. And the way I baton is I will start these splitting the wood. And then I'll take a wedge that I've already made and I'll use the wedge in that split. And then I will baton the wedge. But when I'm first testing out a knife, I'm going to baton the knife. Why? Because I want to see if it will be able to handle that kind of stress if the need ever really arose. Okay, so if that need came up and I didn't have an axe or whatever with me, am I going to be able to deal with this? Right? And because they've tapered the spine so fine for most of this blade, and because of that gut hook being right where it is, it tears up the batons very quickly. I've got a whole lot of knives that are less expensive than this, and I've got some more expensive, and none of them have a taper this severe on the back edge of the knife on the spine, which would prevent good batoning. Okay, so that's not a good thing. Now, the combo blade. Oh, you can do more with the combo blade. Some people swear by this. Okay. Some people swear by those serrations. They're great for cutting cordage. That's what they say. Well, you know what? I can cut cordage better with a plain blade if it's sharp than I can with a serrated blade if it's sharp. If they're both sharp, I'm going to cut better with a plain blade than a serrated blade. So let's not have the serrated blade, because that's one of the things I'm going to do with this part of the knife. Normally that's going to be for feather sticking or for very fine work, very fine shaving work. And yes, you can feather stick here, but you have more control feather sticking here. So the serrations actually are counterproductive. Okay. On a scale of 1 through 10, I would give this knife a 1. This is the worst survival type knife I've ever had in my life, and one of the worst ideas I've ever seen for a survival knife. Now, I did a review for this in writing from the company that this knife was, the whole survival kit was bought from, and Weyland sent me this really crappy paracord bracelet and a sob story about how they worked so hard to make a good knife. Could I please give them a better review? Okay, well, you know what? First of all, You could have sent me thousands of dollars and I'm not going to give you a better review if your product is not very good. I'm not going to. Doesn't matter. Okay? And they sent me this really cruddy bracelet thing, which tells me a few things. First of all, they don't care about their quality because look how poorly this is made. Look how poorly that's made. And then anybody that's going to put this type of connector, this shackle, on a bracelet that you're going to put on, has never actually used one. Okay? Seriously, have never actually used one. I have made a paracord bracelets with these on it. And I had never used one before, but I thought it was a great idea, and it's adjustable and all this stuff. And here's what you find out. It's easy to take off. You just unscrew it. But when you go to put it on, it's a chore to get it to hold in place and all of this stuff to line up just right together so that you can put this on. So if you're going to be giving a bracelet to somebody, give a good one, because this is garbage. I can seriously make a better one than this in less than 10 minutes using the same type of materials, but I would use a different connector. Okay, so not even talking about the garbage that came in the survival kit itself. This is just about the knife, because that survival kit is just trash. Okay, I don't think I would ever recommend to anybody that they buy anything from this company. Now, you may have bought stuff from them or have a gift that somebody got you from this company, and you may love it, and I'm glad. But a lot of people are going to not like it once they have it. And I carry this in my truck every day for one reason and one reason only. Because we have like carjackings out here a lot. And if somebody tries to carjack me, I'm going to stab them with this seriously hard, like all the way up to the handle. And the reason I'm going to use this one instead of a better knife is because the cops are going to confiscate whatever I stab that individual with. And if they're going to confiscate it, I'd rather they confiscate one I don't like than one I do like, which is the only reason this one would get used. That's my 2 cents worth. Hopefully, if you're going to make a decision about buying one of these for yourself or somebody else, that's information you can use. Otherwise, my name is Talon. That's my 2 cents worth, and I hope you have a wonderful day.